Most people play Doctor Strange like he's a shield bot and only use him to teleport to point fast. But if you actually want to dominate games and climb fast, you need to understand how to think like a pro. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down my exact decision making, positioning, and how I control the flow of fights with Strange, while also talking about my mistakes and what I could have done better. So if you don't know why you're not winning more often and why your plays don't work even though you're taking space and doing everything correctly as a tank, stick around because this video will shift how you think about tanking and help you spot what's really holding you back from winning more. So a big problem I've noticed in this game and even in Overwatch back then was the fact that a lot of people tend to be stuck in the trap of focusing the supports, then the DPS, and then the tanks. Well, yeah, that should be a good rule to have, but sometimes there are moments where a Strange will be out of position and pushed up way too far, and people end up starting to focus the supports even though the Strange is right there and he's a free kill. And it's so frustrating to see, especially when it's my teammates that are making that mistake. So one thing I want people to understand is, yeah, that's a good rule to have. However, I want the prioritization to change a little bit. So instead of going from focus supports, then DPS, then tanks, I want it to be focus whoever's out of position, and then supports, and then DPS, and then tanks. And so what I mean by that is if there's a Strange pushed up too far, or a Punisher in your backline that's uncontested, or even a support that's pushed up with his tanks, right? As obvious as it sounds, I feel like I need to say whoever is easiest to kill should be focused first. So keeping that in mind, let's take a look at how we won this fight with little to no effort. So you see the Thing and Strange are both pushed up way too far, especially relative to their team, and so our Groot does a good job at walling them off, and the Strange is essentially a free kill. Now unfortunately the Thing does kind of get out to his supports again, and our Spider-Man does get picked because he's out of position a little bit. But Thing goes back in even though he's down a tank, and it is a 5v5, so it's not too punishable, unfortunately, and I back up for heals, and we go back at him because he again isn't respecting us enough and pushes up so far up, and now not only are they down one tank, but they're down two. I know Strange is almost back, but I'm going to use this time as well as I can and get as much space as possible. And Strange is back, but at least we pushed it all the way to this corner. Honestly, I think I should have been pushing a little bit more, especially after we used Amplifier, but because of how far back their team was, I wasn't too comfortable pushing that far up, even though they are down the Thing, and our Luna called out that Scarlet's behind, and because I knew that I wasn't able to do too much in the front line, I decided to go back and peel for the Luna. Now, one thing I did want to say is that generally, as odd as this sounds, you don't really want to be peeling as a main tank like Strange, because your job is to be in the front line, especially with your shield. You need to be able to protect your whole team and be that kind of anchor in the front. And so you should rarely be peeling for your team, and it should mainly be the DPS, or in worst case scenario, it should be your off tank. And so if you don't know what I mean by main tank or off tank, a main tank is pretty much the anchor of your team. So people like Strange and Meg and even Emma kind of now, and I guess Groot. To be honest, I'm not too sure what Groot is, but he's really good. I just don't know what he is. And then your off tanks are actually divided in two different categories. You got your supportive off tanks and your dive off tanks. I'm gonna put a visual up so you can kind of get a better idea of what I mean and who is what exactly. But supportive off tanks are pretty much like Penny or Thor, or honestly, now that I think about it, even Groot. I'd say Groot is more of a supportive off tank than a main tank. And then your dive tanks are more people like Captain America, Venom, and honestly, even Hulk. Hulk is kind of cool because I feel like he can be a supportive or a dive. Like, he can do a really good job at diving in and being disruptive, but he's really, really good at also helping a main tank out with his bubble and his ability to brawl. A lot of people didn't notice this, so before I get to my next point, I wanted to show that Strange can actually block Namor's ult. You just have to hold it up and aim it towards the center of the ult. Anyways, now that we know what role Strange plays in your team, I want you to notice how boring my gameplay is. I'm not making any flashy plays, I'm not doing anything special. I'm just aggressing when the time is right and being defensive and conservative when the time is right.
Invis alone.
I TP'd onto the Invis because she was out of position. So we focus whoever's out of position and it's a free kill. So now it's a 6v5, and I think we did use a little too many ults, but it's okay. It happens. Not gonna lie, here the Luna and I kind of make a stupid decision, and we know that Strange is about to spawn in and he's probably gonna use his TP. It would have been really cool if it worked, but we decided to try to go to their spawn and use Luna's freeze to kind of freeze him out of the TP. But since we missed, we were out of position and our team had to fight 6v4. But thankfully, we got two really quick picks, and our Groot and Luna still had our ult. So we were able to clean this up pretty well. Now that I think about it, I don't even know why the Luna told me to follow him. He's faster than me and there's no point in me going. So I probably should have just stayed on point with my team. But thankfully, it worked out. But yeah, what I was trying to say before is that Strange, unlike people like Hulk and Venom and even Penny, doesn't really have much utility to make really cool plays or kind of do anything out of the ordinary. It's just shoot, melee, use your E occasionally, and hold your shield up. I guess the TP is kind of cool, but that's like every 2 minutes or something. I don't know what the cooldown is exactly, but anyways, especially in the lower ranks, I see so many Stranges for whatever reason flanking with him, and their argument is always, I'm taking so much space, why aren't we pushing up? What are you guys doing? And it just doesn't make sense to me. It's so frustrating to hear because that's not taking space. And if they want to take space like that, they should be playing someone like, I don't know, Venom or Hulk or even Cap, right? There's no point in flanking with Strange. That's the worst person to flank with. I'd rather have a flanking Penny. People try to overcomplicate it. It's so simple. You literally just stay point. And when you take space, you don't take space from off angles. You don't take space from trying to go around them and making a huge play or even going for a huge ult. Well, yes, those are really cool, and when they work out, it's crazy and it's amazing. But the point is consistency, and whatever gets you the wins more consistently, right? So the way to do that is doing exactly what I'm doing. Playing boring old Strange, going for whoever's out of position, and when it's time to back up. Their Luna ult, we back up a little bit. We got picked a couple times, so it's kind of wraps. Yeah, both our DPS got picked there. I probably should have backed up a little bit more, but even then, there's not much I could do. And if anything, I should have died quicker so I could respawn.
This guy wants to kill me.
I have TP in 4 seconds.
It's fine.
Thankfully, I had TP, so we could go to point quicker and it shouldn't really matter too much. Can we kill him through it? There's me again blocking Neymar's ult with mine, and I should have blocked his. I wasn't tracking his ult. I should have known. And something else a lot of people don't know, and which is obviously a lot harder now that Strange's damage got nerfed, but you can actually kill every support through their ult except for Luna. I mean, you can kill Luna as well, but she's just a lot harder. But pretty much all you do is you shoot them, you melee, and you press E. You have to make sure your E's at 100% charge. But if you do it correctly, you can actually kill supports through their ults, which is nice. And especially if your team's helping you, it becomes really easy to kill an invis through her ult and be able to snowball. I also wanted to say that throughout this game, our Bucky, who just swapped to support, was doing really bad on Bucky. I think he was 9 and 8 or something right now. But thankfully, he actually swapped to support and he admitted that he wasn't doing too well. And honestly, there's no problem there, right? Especially if they admit it, there's literally nothing wrong with that. We all have bad games and we just make the right swaps and keep going. I'm actually surprised he did that. I've never had someone admit they're doing bad and actually swap. That was the first and last time that's ever happened to me. But because he did that, the game was a lot easier moving forward. But I don't know if you noticed, like, we still weren't doing too bad as a team. We were still pushing. Yeah, we cut it close a lot of the time, but it just goes to show that you don't need to give up just because one person or even two people are doing really bad. It's still winnable, and that's the mentality that you need to have. And that's not exclusive to Strange or exclusive to Tank or even exclusive to this game. So many people in low ranks I've noticed in Valorant, in Overwatch, in anything, they always complain so much and they always blame others. And that was a terrible ult by me, but they always blame others and they never take accountability. And as a result, they're always angrier and don't understand that sometimes you're gonna have people that aren't doing too well or just aren't good at the game. And there's not much you can do about them, right? Instead of just complaining and hoping they'll do better, just try to, especially as a tank, take on the responsibility and try to just tell yourself that, okay, that just means this game's going to be harder, but it doesn't mean it's not winnable. It just means that you're going to have to do more. And if he's not doing his job as a support, then maybe I'll play around health packs a little bit more, or maybe I'll play a little bit more conservative so my other support can heal me a little bit easier. Or if I have a bad DPS, maybe I need to be a little bit more aggressive. Maybe if I see him diving in, I need to be just as committed. So at least when he dies, I can try to get a trade or try to get some kind of pick, or at least use him as some kind of asset to the team. Not gonna lie, if you don't expect every once in a while your games to be tougher than normal and your teammates to be worse than you think and worse than they should be for the rank you're in, then you're stupid. There's always gonna be an exception. There's always gonna be that one person every once in a while that is on your team that you don't understand how he's there. But honestly, that's kind of the case for everything in life. Whether it's this situation or a coworker, you can't understand how they landed their role. Sometimes that's just how things go. You can't control that. But what you can control is your own actions and what you do about it. As nerdy as that sounds, it's true. There's not much we can do, right? And if he didn't want to switch to support, which I'm thankful he did, and nice. But if he didn't, well, it's not fine, but there's nothing we can do about it, right? What am I gonna do? Cuss him out? Nah, doing that is literally just gonna make me feel angrier and rile me up and make him either angrier or sad. We don't want to do that either. Okay, so now it's round 2. We decided to hold up instead of the traditional choke, just because if we hold here and we do lose a fight, we get an extra fight just because we get to hold here and then the traditional choke and then back like near the end of the checkpoint. Perfect. We get a pick again. Whoever is out of position, go for him. And sadly, the Luna gets picked, so we have to back up. And the thing is, yeah, we have way more picks than them, but our Luna's gonna take about 10 to 15 seconds, whereas their spawn is right there, so it just takes them 5 seconds to rejoin the fight. So we got a lot of picks. We were able to clean it up. Venom's back, but it's just Venom, so we're trying to clean it out. But this whole time, I'm still mindful that we're down Luna, and they're gonna spawn in any second, so we can't be committing too much. Unfortunately, Bucky gets a good hook on Groot, so we have to back up. Now I can't be solo tanking in their spawn, so we gotta back up, and we gotta wait for our Groot, and our Luna's probably back by now, so still waiting though. And until then, we keep just kiting back and just kind of hope that someone makes a mistake. And whoever makes a mistake, we try to punish. I almost made a mistake there, but thankfully I had my shift.
Just keep backing.
But again, we keep backing, we wait. Hopefully our Groot's coming back soon. We use 2 DPS ults, so I try to apply a little bit of pressure, see what we can do. But their support ult helped them, and our Loki died. So again, we just kite back. Now this is called staggering. Every time we try to group up and wait for our team to come back, someone else dies, so we have to wait for them, and then someone else dies and we have to wait for them, so we don't really get a proper 6v6, and that's why they pushed it so far so fast, just by one long fight, because we didn't really get to have a second fight until now, which even then we were down our Loki, but thankfully our Psylocke did get 2 really good picks in the beginning, and then I hit a pretty big strange ult, which also helped. But we definitely shouldn't have won that. It was a 6v5 almost the entire game, other than the beginning. But I mean, I ain't complaining. So now you're about to see a perfect example of what I was talking about before, where I said focus whoever's out of position first, and then the supports, and then the DPS. So I want you to keep an eye on Bucky right now. So right now he's main. I can't really do much. They have Cloak Ult right next to him, but we Cloak Ult back, and he's pushing up for some reason. Now look at where he's playing relative to where his team's playing. He's playing like our Cloak Ult is his. Now watch, I even walk past the Venom and focus him solely because Venom can get out. He has his E, which gives him shield, and he has a lot more mobility. So he has lots of health and he can get out very, very easily. Whereas Bucky, other than his uppercut, he doesn't really have much of an out. So while yes, my teammates do call out to focus Venom, I know that the better option is to focus Bucky. Bucky's half behind and above. You see him?
Bucky. Yep. 1.
Nice. And sure enough, Venom swings out and they reset for a fight. Now here I'm just maintaining that frontline presence because I don't see anyone making a mistake. I'm just making sure that the tanks feel pressured. And our Groot calls out that he's going to ult their supports, so I quickly go in and we try to clean up their supports as much as we can. And perfect, they're invis ulted and we still killed her through it. Unfortunately, Spider-Man did ult our backline as well, but Thankfully, we got a better piece of that. And again, let's see what Venom does. He pops his shield and he swings right out. There are so many moments where people get so frustrated with their team because the Venom won't die, and apparently they're not focusing him enough, but that's not the case. It's because Venom has so much mobility, he has so much shield, and if he's getting healed while he's doing all that, there's just no point in focusing him. He's too strong. So instead of focusing Venom and putting all your resources into him, you could be looking at a Bucky that's right next to him. We just keep backing, just try to stay alive, yeah. They popped cloak ult and they're being very aggressive, so I call out that we need to back up, respect it, and we can re-engage now that the ult is gone. And so I have my ult and I pop it. Thankfully, pretty good ult. Namor pops his ult. I'm getting just like that. We're fine. See there, no one was really out of position, but thankfully our ults were pretty good. And we go for Star-Lord first, then Venom. Look how much health he has, even though he was in that fight. In the middle of that fight, that whole time, barely lost any health because of that stupid shield. But that's why it's fine. We'll go for everyone but him, and then we can kill him last. Either that or he swings away and he regroups with his team. Either way, it's fine. We just need to realize that since he's so hard to kill, we don't prioritize him as much. We go for everyone else. It may seem like he's out of position or he's the guy that needs to be punished because he's in your backline and he's doing so much. And well, yes, we need to give some pressure, but it's also important to realize that that's his role. That's what he does. It's punishable to kill a Punisher in your backline, but it's not when there's a Venom in your backline because they play different roles. They have different tools, right? So think people like Venom, Hulk, Captain America, that's what they do. There's little to no chance of killing them. Well, yes, again, apply pressure, but make sure you're prioritizing the right people to kill first. This is the mindset you need. Doctor Strange isn't just about portaling to point fast and being a shield bot. He may not be the best after the recent changes, but I can still comfortably say he is definitely up there. As long as you're aware of your positioning, your team's positioning, and enemy ults, Doctor Strange is amazing at setting the tempo of the fight. You get these habits down and you'll start seeing your wins stack up. If you want to see another breakdown focus on staying alive longer while still playing aggressively and knowing when to dial it back, click here on the screen. And if this video helped you at all, please leave a like. It helps the channel grow and I'd really appreciate it.